Hey, everyone. Sorry for my tardiness, as I know a lot of you were waiting on me and let me know very much so and very lovingly into the comments section and on my Twitter and everything. So I'm sorry that I was a little bit late on the discussion, but hopefully everybody can hear me all right and can be at least a little bit. I don't even know where to begin, honestly. So I'm going to treat this like I have before. Yeah, we're going to treat it like a podcast, essentially. I'm going to give my reactions to kind of the game yesterday and my quick thoughts, as well as the things that I feel like are going to be happening moving forward for Arkansas and for Sam Pittman. And we'll dive into some of the questions that you may have and everything in the comments as well. But at least at the time of the recording of this, we do not know anything just yet. But if something does change, I know I'm doing this live, but say if something happens later tonight, we'll go live again. So I have like a double dosage of live, but I didn't want to wait until like the way into the night because there's so many other things that could be going on. So anyways, again, we're just going to kind of treat this kind of like a podcast in itself. Hopefully that's good enough. Hopefully it'll work out all right. Hopefully everybody's in a good mood, right? Sure you are. Of course you are. Why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be? So yeah, we'll get to your comments there towards the end. Not towards the end, but just later in here, and then we'll already get into some of the things that are going on. At least I feel like so. All right, let's go ahead and knock this one out, shall we?
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Out of Bounds. You can catch every weekday afternoon from 1 to 4 on 103.7 The Buzz and 103.7thebuzz.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday at the time of this live stream. Man, there's a lot of things to get into and a lot of things to try to cover. And I'll try to do my best to do it. But it is really bad. It is really, really, really bad. So essentially, Arkansas, as for those of you who've listened to the podcast and knew going into this podcast this week that Arkansas was going to be facing an Auburn team that really wasn't that good. A very average Auburn team, an Auburn team who had only 2 SEC wins, and 2 of them were against Vanderbilt and Mississippi State, 2 of the worst teams in the SEC. And they had barely escaped a Cal team earlier in the year. They had a couple of close calls, but overall, Arkansas was a team that, when going up against Auburn, felt like that they could win. It's not to say that Arkansas is just a superior team or a better team than Auburn, but it certainly felt like after the win against Florida last week, and knowing that you had this game against Auburn coming back home to Fayetteville, it's a 3:00 in the afternoon kickoff and beautiful weather. Fans were there. Fans were electric. I think they said that there ended up being 72,000 people there. You felt like that a lot of things were going well for Arkansas, well enough to where, hey, go into this game, we feel pretty confident. We feel like we could win, right? Well, that feeling went quickly out the door. And when I say quickly, I mean before the game even really got frickin' started. I was there in attendance in person. I don't know how many of you watching this may have been there in person. I'm sure a lot of you were. But I looked at this game where Auburn got the ball first, and they went right down the field. Just right down the field. Had the ball for 2 minutes and 23 seconds, ran 6 plays, and scored a touchdown. Just went through Arkansas's defense like Swiss cheese. So I was like, okay, not ideal, but let's see where it goes. Let's see what can happen. Maybe something can change. Maybe Arkansas can get back on track. Well, Arkansas gets the ball back, and they go 3 and out. Run, pass, nothing. Nothing doing. So Arkansas, of course, you have to punt it back because that's what you have to do in those situations, especially when you're pinned deep. So you punt after gaining 7 yards, and Auburn returns it for a touchdown. And there it is. It was over by that point. It was 14-0. And it was over before we even knew it got started. What in the world is... I couldn't even believe what I was seeing in this game, folks. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing in this game. This team, what happened to all that good grace and those good feelings after that Florida game? Like, where was the team that played against Florida and fought like heck to get there and to get a win? Because that team did not exist. The players looked like they just got beat from the very beginning. And when they got beat from the very beginning, they just gave up, threw up their arms, and rolled over and died. The coaching was atrocious in every regard, offense, defense, and special teams. And everything was pretty awful. And I'll say this too, because I know a lot of you are going to be asking the questions about Sam Pittman and his future, which I know we'll talk about a lot more in depth. But here was my immediate reaction after seeing that game. It's over. You can not have a performance like that against Auburn, a team like that, knowing what's on the line, and have that be the performance you put forth. It's unacceptable in year 4, where you have a team that is about as healthy as you could have a football team being in the middle of November, where you had a team that looked so good on the road against Florida offensively, had some good defensive plays, but for whatever reason, just croaked. It is completely and totally unacceptable and should never happen. Ever, under any circumstances. Because it was one thing where Arkansas was even losing games this year, remember, by 1 possession, to good teams. Went on the road to Alabama, to LSU, and lost by a field goal in those games. But in this game, you weren't even competitive against an average Auburn team. You made them look like a national championship contender because you were just totally and completely. It was the worst performance I think I've seen. It was like a Chad Morris level performance. Now, I'm not trying to compare that because I hate doing that and saying, oh, Sam Pittman's a Chad Morris or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But that performance on Saturday was Chad Morris-esque, where from the get-go, you were done for. And you got smoked by an average team. You gave up over 500 yards offense to a team in Auburn that literally has a quarterback that can't throw. Like Peyton Thorne was one of the worst rated quarterbacks in the SEC and has been this year. He had 10 touchdowns and 6 picks coming in this game. He threw 3 touchdowns against you. 12 of 20. And I was angry. I've been disappointed. I've been frustrated. I've been annoyed. This time I was angry, mainly due to the fact that this is like the home team fans deserve so much better than this crap. Arkansas's worst games this year, and this is what's stupid. Arkansas's worst performances this year, if you think about it, have come at home in Fayetteville. How does that make sense? Even the Kent State game, which Kent State I think is like 1-9 or 2-8, whatever they are, they're terrible. In that game you won, you look like cheeks. And then you have the BYU game, which was without question a horrible performance. The Mississippi State game, dare I say why that game was a horrible performance. And then this one. Your worst games this year and your worst performances this year have come in front of the home crowd in Fayetteville. And that, to me, is another unacceptable thing. It's completely and totally unacceptable. Like, home fans deserve that. Like, there's not been a game that anybody has been able to go to at Razorback Stadium this year where that they even enjoy. There's not been one enjoyable game there. And they got 2 more left. But seriously, it's just terrible. And it's just completely and totally terrible. So here's the thing. The game is now almost seems secondary, as far as the performance and everything. It almost seems secondary. But I can tell you this. For those of you who are watching and just tuning in, I'm not going to sit here and say I have any inside knowledge of anything, because I don't. At least not that at this point, not that I've heard. And I'm usually not the one that'll ever come out and say things that if I don't have confirmation on, especially when it comes to coaching changes and whatnot. I know that people have on social media, like I think, because I have it on at least my Twitter pulled up, guys like Mike Irwin, I think, have been saying that it looks like it's over. But I believe it is, I believe it's over with for Sam Pittman. And I hate that because, again, I really like Sam Pittman. I think most of you do. He's always been a nice guy, a class guy, a guy who just wanted to do so well by everybody. Just wanted to be the coach at Arkansas and win games and have fun with it. And I think he's made a lot of mistakes. But it's not to say it's been an absolute disaster failure. This year has been, but I don't think the Sam Pittman experiment has been, because I still believe if you win 9 games in this modern era of college football, especially in the SEC, like Sam Pittman did just a few years ago, that's not a failure. Like, that's not an epic failure of an experiment. Like, it just didn't work out. Now, this year, however, has been an epic failure. This season has been an epic failure. But with the news of like Jimbo Fisher getting fired from Texas A&M, which, man, he's got a great gig going on for him. Yeah, people are already like in the comments. I see like, hey, so bring in Jimbo Fisher. No one wants that. He doesn't want that. He's got too much money. But I just believe that you cannot have what you had this year and have what you had on Saturday in Fayetteville in front of the home fans and just be fine with it. It'd be one thing if it was It'd be one thing if it was just like a one game deal against an Alabama, but it wasn't. Like Auburn, if you like power rank the opponents that Arkansas has played so far this year, from the toughest opponent and then the least toughest opponent, I think that you would probably have, was it Western Carolina at the very bottom, then Kent State, then Mississippi State, then maybe BYU or maybe Auburn, as far as your toughest opponents that you've played so far this year. LSU's better, Ole Miss is better, Alabama's better, Texas A&M's better, but you were unable to do it. You were unable to do anything about it, and unable to make this whole thing work. So it's just been so disappointing, and that's really what it comes down to. It's just been such a major disappointment that I would have never dreamed that I would see what I saw on Saturday. I really didn't. That's what's most disappointing, I feel like, is just how do you go from the whole year being so competitive and like you didn't win games, sure, but you're so competitive, you're striving, and then you finally get that win. You finally go on the road. You finally beat Florida. You beat them in Gainesville in overtime by a field goal, by one possession, and you feel like everything's okay. Maybe this is it. Maybe they figured it out. Maybe they were able to put it together. Maybe they can finish strong. Maybe they can salvage the season because they have a very favorable schedule in front of them compared to what they had in the beginning part. Maybe, just maybe, it'll all work. And all of it have been all you got home games. Like, I just felt like that was going to be an easy bet, is just betting on Arkansas where, would they have won? Was I saying it was a guaranteed win? No. Did I feel like they were going to win? Yes. But to get skunked like you did was just mind-blowing. It was weird. And so now it becomes like, because I even said it I can't remember if I said it on my podcast or on my radio show, but I even said that, like, if Arkansas, the only way Arkansas fires Sam Pittman at the point after beating Florida is like if they give up. Like if they just mail it in at any point, it looks like the team's given up, looks like he's lost the team. Like, only then would I see maybe a change coming. Well, saw that. We saw that. So I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in that happening. Again, like, it's bad losses no matter when you have them. But the fact that every game in Fayetteville this year was the worst performances that you had of the season is the strangest thing to me. The worst performances you had, the worst performance you had was in Fayetteville, in your home stadium, in front of the home fans. And I felt bad for all the fans. I really did. All of them, because it was a great crowd. A crowd that could have easily given up and not showed up, and a crowd that could have just gone hunting instead, which I know a lot of you probably wish you did now, but probably just would have, moved on and been okay with it. But that's not the case. So now we got to talk about the future. And when I talk about the future, I'll get into that, and then we'll get into y'all's comments, try to read through all of them as fast as I can. Because, we got it. First off, ton of y'all watching right now, almost 500 people, over 500 people watching. So thank you for all of you. Again, we'll get to the comments here in a bit, but now becomes the future. I don't call for people's head coach jobs. I don't say, like, I'm not one of these people just like Sam Pittman needs to be fired immediately. Like, I'm not going to do that because that's not my place. I feel like everything happens for a reason and in time. And I trust Hunter Yurchek to do what's right by the athletic department and by the football program and by the team and by the players and by everybody. Like, I trust him in that. But I'm sorry. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I can't defend that. No one can. And it looks like that's at least the feeling that I have. Again, nothing just other than feeling and smoke that's been surrounding things, is that it looks like there might be a possible direction change. It's what people are saying. It's like Mike Irwin saying it of Big Trail Nation. Others are talking about it. But right now I'm just trying to look through it all and just try to make sense out of what I just even witnessed on Saturday. But again, talking about the future. If we're going to move on from Sam Pittman, which I believe, if I was a betting man, gun to my head, I think Arkansas does move on. If they move on, of course, you start the national coaching search. Plane tracking season, my favorite, as a lot of you know. And when we get into plane tracking season, there's going to be names thrown out like crazy, like absolute craziness. People are just going to go nuts of saying, hey, this is who I want. This is who I want. This is who we should call. This is who we should call. This is who we should get. This is who we should, go after, whatever. And it's just fun because I can tell you, like, there's certain coaches that are not going to come here. Like, you're not getting Bobby Petrino. Okay. You're not getting Urban Meyer. So, like, there's just no reason in even bringing up any of those guys. And I know people have been bringing up Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher's not coming to Arkansas either. Why would Jimbo Fisher, dude? You know how much that guy got paid? It's like $73 million to not work. And I think he's in his late 50s, early 60s, maybe. If I'm Jimbo Fisher, I'm chilling for the rest of my life. I mean, you're literally living off of like $2 million a year for the rest of your life, assuming that he lives that long. So, but yeah, you're not going to go get Jimbo Fisher. That's not going to happen. Yeah, no Bob Stoops, no John Gruden. Like, just all these names that get thrown out, and it just makes me roll my eyes in the back of my head. I'm like, you're not getting any of those guys. It's not happening. So, it's just not happening. Anyways. So, yeah, we'll see. But I'll also say this, too, because this is something I want to make very clear and very important. Again, if you're just joining us, appreciate all of you. Be sure you're subscribing to the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Arkansas is a program that you can win at. Like, I know that there's people that have been, other fan bases that have probably been trolling Razorback fans about everything and, calling them the Vanderbilt of the West or whatever. And you know what? The wins have not been there. I mean, you have not won over the past decade. You have not been a program that has been doing what they've been supposed to be doing. It's just plain and simple. But I refuse under any circumstance and in any notion to believe that Arkansas is not a program that you can't win at. You just need the right guy. I mean, especially in this day and age with you got the transfer portal, which we know has been a quick change, quick turnaround thing. That we've had the same thing with, good for crying out loud. I mean, you talk about the NIL and just what's been crazy about that whole thing with NIL and just how it's changed so many people and so many programs so quickly. And Arkansas is one that, could always use more NIL just like everybody else, but it's still in a position to where you can be successful in that way too. I don't have this notion of Arkansas is just a program that's going to get stuck as a block. Like, just this amount, like, you can bet best you could do is a 6-win, 7-win season, all of that. Like, no, it's not happening. So you're a program that if you just get the right guy, you can still be a team that can win at different levels. I mean, look at what Ole Miss has done with Lane Kiffin. Now, Lane Kiffin, I think, is a great coach, but you're telling me that Ole Miss just has far and away more than what Arkansas could have of winning? I don't think so. It's just about hiring the right coach. You got to be able to maybe make a hire that's uncomfortable, maybe make a hire that, people may not like or people may not understand. Or if you even look ahead to some other coaches around the country at some other colleges that you may want to bring in. If that's the case, then yes. But I want to make it very clear, again, for those of you who are joining in, Sam Pittman has not been fired officially as of yet. He's not been fired. He's not resigned. Nothing yet. And I do not have any sort of reports or inside knowledge saying, oh, yeah, for sure, Sam Pittman is going to be fired. I know some people are in the media are. I'm not. I haven't done that yet because I just don't know. But, if it happens, I'm not going to be surprised. And honestly, I'm not going to be upset about it, other than the fact that I just feel bad for any of the players that have to lose a coach or And again, I really like Sam Pittman. I really do. If Arkansas was going to win a national championship in football ever, I would love Sam Pittman to be the one hoisting the trophy. Like I'd love that to happen, but it's just not the case. It did not happen this year. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I just don't know what I watched on Saturday. Does anybody else know what they watched on Saturday? That Auburn game? That was disgusting. Like the fact that so many people drove up to watch that and see that performance, it's disgusting. So, everyone's kind of talking about who I would want to hire if a move was made. I don't know, man. I know that there's a lot of coaches out there that I think would be really interested in Arkansas because Arkansas is still in the SEC, can still pay really well, and yeah, I just believe that there's a lot of greater things that you can do and to be a part of that you could, make it move forward and make it be all right. But man, I just don't know what happened. I don't know. I do not know what went from being the Florida game to this game. Like what, bro? What? Is that the same team I was watching? It's almost like I'm not saying this is what happened, but it gave the vibe of almost just like, all right, we won a game. Let's go just hang out and do nothing. Chill. So it's just really bad. All right. Let's see. We're going for about 30 minutes now, close to it. Again, appreciate all of you watching and chiming in. I'll try to get to all your comments as much as I can because comments are coming in like crazy. And so be sure to subscribe to the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Like, are you kidding me? So many live viewers, over 600, almost 7. Oh, hold on a second. I want to make sure I get my numbers right here. Holy crap, folks! We got over 1,000 people watching. You guys are awesome. Appreciate it. All right. Again, I'm going to try to get to your comments as best as I can. I'm going to try to. Let's see if I can get to some of these. And we'll post it up and all that. Leslie says, Saturday's game was part of a Twilight Zone episode. No, it was part of literally my work. It was my literal hell. It was my hell, my hell I've been able to relive many times because my hell is always thinking that Arkansas has a chance to win. I used to, like, way back when, I actually wrote a song, like a parody song, kind of like a Weird Al Yankovic type thing for The Sound of Silence, but like relaying it towards Arkansas. And man, I felt like tweeting that back out. So I felt like that was like pretty on point. I have to go back and find that because that's how it felt like to me. It felt like absolute just awfulness. Let's see. KJ smiling, talking to Auburn player and coaches was definitely a bad look. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. What's bad look and whatnot. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons for that. So I'm not going to look at that. At least we have the Polar Express to watch. Yeah, I saw that. That was weird. I guess that somebody said, or somebody like reached out. I think it may have been like Hogbeat or something that reached out, and one of the reps said that was in the red shirt locker room, which I didn't know there was one, but it was like not with anyone on the team or anything. I was actually watching it. I don't know. It was weird though, and also he's putting that out there. Like who's putting that video out there? That was weird to me. Army says, we are idiots if we fire Pittman. He's the dude. Who would we get? No one will work harder. Man, I hate that question because and I'm not coming down on you, Army. I'm just saying like that's a loser mentality of like if you are going through and you're suffering and you're having some bad issues, which Arkansas is by far, they're not going to make a bowl game in a year that they should have easily. You can't ever just treasure, well, who are we going to get? Because you know how many times that has changed? And like when you always think, who are we going to get? And then you actually end up getting someone that's pretty good. And I'll always bring it back. Well, I'm not saying it's always going to be that way, but I always go back to like when Houston Nutt was about to get fired, which I was one of those people that wanted Nutt gone. You know how I feel about Houston Nutt. Wanted him gone. And I remember everyone was just saying, who are we going to get? Who's going to want to coach here after the way the fans treated Houston Nutt? Who would want to come here? Well, you got a guy named Bobby Petrino, and he did pretty well. Okay. So don't ever look at it as, oh, well, who we going to get? Who we going to get? Whatever. Don't ever do it. Yeah, just don't put it that way. Again, I just hate that question. Mike and M says, hey, John, do you think what we saw was a team letting go of the rope? Man, I don't know how you can't feel that way. Like, you get trounced. What was it? 48-10 was the final, right? Yeah, you get trounced. You give up 21 points in the first quarter and you just roll over and die. First quarter and second quarter of Auburn, you gave up 21 points each quarter. Heck, you just took away the first quarter and third quarter. Arkansas wins the game 10-6. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know how you don't feel like the team did. I don't know how you feel that way. Kevin Kelly would be really cool. No, he would not. That's a joke. Yeah, man. I mean, you click on that one, but okay, Patriot Republic. Let's see. Dalton says, you said it right when you said there has to be a hire that will make some people get uncomfortable and go against the grain. You either have to pay up for a big time or risk it with somebody inexperienced. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're going to do. Everybody's apparently keep like bringing up the Gus Malzahn bus. Trying to get him to come actually finally officially to Arkansas. I don't know. I don't. Everyone's got their own thoughts on Malzahn. I mean, is that really what you're going to be looking at going forward? Is that who you're going to just bank on? I don't know. No, you says, I don't understand why Pittman had to ask KJ for permission to play Criswell. Criswell created a spark in the team that seemed to be missing for a while. I mean, no, I see. This is the whole thing where it's just like, I feel like you're just looking at all the things wrong. Like, this is nothing against Criswell, but I'm sorry, but there's no way that you would have, like, against Florida last week. You see what KJ Jefferson did in that game? You don't think he provided a spark? Or that KJ's provided sparks his entire career here at Arkansas in his third year? Like, the idea that this is like a KJ thing is it's ludicrous. Nima says, maybe it wasn't Danny Enos thinking. Stop. Lord have mercy. You guys are wild for some of these comments. See, Justin says, and that's the point, John. You can't get demolished like that and then go genuinely joke and smile with the opponents. I mean, again, but I don't know if he was genuinely joking and smiling and all of that. Like, again, I think that's just I don't know what the conversation was. I mean, these guys are still players. They're still athletes. I mean, not everybody's going to handle it all the same way and have the same emotions. You want them to be like, not just happy they lost, but I'm not going to just look at it in one little thing out of context and say, oh yeah, he wasn't serious about it. And now people are going after KJ is weird. It's really weird. Shawan Moan says, we got to quit talking about Bobby Petrino. He didn't do bleep here at Arkansas, but put our program in a worse place than he found it. Okay, did he? Because I think the place that he left it was pretty dadgum good. I mean, you're just coming off of 2 seasons of 21-5 combined, and then had like a top returning offense coming back the next year. And I know he made his mistake of getting on that motorcycle, but I still don't think he should have been fired for it. It's just me. I want to revisit that again. But again, revisionist history can be pretty crazy sometimes. Man, KJ, everybody's going after KJ. Some people saying Barry Odom. I'm not going to go like that. People are going with Jeff Traylor saying that. Taylor says, do we lose more players to the portal if we keep or fire Sam? That's a question where I feel like you'll probably lose. I mean, you're going to lose players no matter what. But you'll gain some players with a new coach. So that's what's great about the portal. I mean, if you got the portal, you can just grab guys in and just bring them in. So I'd be fine with that. Keep waiting. I'm like, I know what's going to happen. Like, as soon as when I end this stream, boom, it's like some breaking news is going to happen. I just know that's what's like. It's going to crack me up if that happens. What are your thoughts on Rhett Lashley? No, I guess whatever. It's not, I mean, I'm not. I mean, we're not getting to the point to where we're going to start ranking who I want to hire as new coach until that happens. People are still mad. People are still mad. People bringing up KJ a lot. My goodness, that's weird. So I'm having to ban a lot of people for being dumb, saying dumb things. Not bad opinions, just like horrible things. Some people just, oh, these comments, these cracking me up. This is how Arkansas works. Hire a coach, then fire him after 4 to 2 years, then rinse and repeat. I mean, what other programs don't if it doesn't work out? Like, what programs do you think don't do that? Like, seriously, what other give me one other program that you think in college football right now would have a coach and years go 3-7, which I know the COVID year was the weird year, but then go 9-4 to 7-6 to possibly 3-9, 4-8. It'll probably be 4-8. Like, what programs aren't moving on from a coach like that? Or what Chad Morris did. Like, to sack like, oh, this is just an Arkansas problem. They just keep moving on from coaches too quickly. Like, come on. Don't do that. It's not a thing that even need to be, again, talked about. Let's see. And again, some of y'all are out of your minds on these things. People talking about other coaches too. Rump says, with OU and Texas joining the league, what do you realistically think an average win per year should we expect? I think even averaging 7 is to be difficult. I've said this many times before. Arkansas is a program where this is just me. You can disagree. To me, Arkansas is just a program where if you average between 6 to 8 wins a year, and then every 3 or 4 years you get to that 9 to 10 win year, you're going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be solid. Like, it'll be fine. It'll be good. I'll be happy. I'll be satisfied. And that's not like impossible to get to. Because honestly, I think you had the talent this year to get there. I think you had the talent last year to get there. Like, you had the talent last year and this year to win 9 to 10 games. I firmly believe that. But due to coaching, due to some bad bounces going here in your way, like all those things, yeah, I'm not all that. Everyone's talking about like, yeah. Oh, geez. We could hire John Nabors. How much of a salary would he request? I don't care about my salary. I just care about my buyout. Give me that $40 million to where if I suck, you can fire me and I'll peace out. It's the best job in the world. Best job in the world to be just a coach, a fired college football coach is the best way to it. Joey Paul says that seems very realistic and achievable. I think so. Michael says what you just described with wins every year, I have to say Malzahn is not a bad option. No, listen, I know. And again, I want to make it very clear for people joining in. Sam Pittman's not been fired. All right. At least not at the time of this recording. He has not been fired yet. I don't know if it happens. It might happen. I would not be surprised if it did. But I want to be very clear. That's why it's just this discussion that we're having. But to say like, oh, if they hired Malzahn, it's not like I would be like, holy crap, what a hire. But it also wouldn't be, oh my gosh, we suck again type thing either. It could do a lot worse, but I just don't know if Malzahn's going to want to come back. After how many times does he need to spurn you for you to finally not want Gus Malzahn here? It's only been like 5 times. And the one time you actually legitimately had a chance to hire him, you hired Brett Bielema instead. You saw that guy going on. Justin says, really sucks that this year's home slates suck, and it suck even more because of home slate next year and we'll be in a rebuild. Not necessarily. because again, with this transfer portal, folks, you can go from literally being a below average team to a good team overnight. They just get the portal guys. Like you can literally turn your program around in 1 year. So, not to say that if Arkansas goes 4-8 this year, hire a new coach, and next year, like, am I going to predict them to go 8-10-2? No, but I don't think you're going to be having as big of rebuilds don't take as long as they once did. I guess is my point. Rebuilds don't take as long. Taylor says, no, the chances of a big name coach is slim. So do we go after a recently fired coach, or retired coach, or a smaller school, or a proven guy? That's the thing is, like, I don't know. Like, you think about like those coaches that are in the Pac-12 right now where their things are like up in the air. Would they be considering going into the SEC for a little more stability? Or maybe, like the guy from Kansas, was it Leopold? Something like that. Maybe go that direction. So hire Jim Harbaugh, right? He's about to get quitting or fired or whatever. Oh, but yeah, that should have been the case. Cliff Kingsbury, my goodness, come on. He's another guy that I would not. I was like to talk about working or anything like that. So, you'll just keep throwing names. That's all it is, throwing names. Zero faith that the program can make a good hire. The last 10 years have shown you that. I don't know. I trust in Hunter Yurachek. Right? I guess I should click on that comment from Josh. No, I think Yurachek can get it done. I think he could do a good job with it. Just because of he's proven it. He's got a great basketball coach in Muss, and yeah, he hired Pittman, but the circumstances were a lot different then. Like the job at Arkansas was literally trash, like garbage, hot garbage that no one wanted because of the way Chad Morris and Brett Bielema left the program. And it's not the case right now. Like Arkansas is not a trash embarrassment of a program right now. They're not good, but it's not like they're just the worst of all time either. I'm trying to see if there's any of these other comments that are just like not all just the craziness going on with it. Just names being thrown in. AD versus Pie says Sam is not going to get fired. However, this happens again next season, he's in serious trouble. Okay. Whatever you say. Again, it's like it's not great. But you just can't have what you had again on Saturday and just expect things to be okay. You know how many fans are not going to be at that game against FIU next week or this week, I guess. You know how people are not going to be at that game? Like no one's going to be there. Probably won't even be people there much with probably won't be there much with Missouri either. Shoot. People's asking, why is the team so slow? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I get just so these comments, man, cracking me up. Y'all are funny. Y'all are so funny. Oh, I'm exhausted too, folks. It's been a heck of a week. So went about 45 minutes though. Seriously, like everybody, thank you so much for watching. Like you guys are awesome. We got over 1,000 people watching at one point in time. Like that's balls. Like that's good balls right there. And if anything changes or if anything develops, we'll jump back on and go live once again. Don't worry. As long as I'm in here in my area, I can make it work. Yes. If anything happens, you'll be the first to know because I'll go live and make it happen. So, but again, subscribe to the Locked On Razorbacks podcast, please. That'd be awesome if y'all did that. And again, I'll keep you updated on anything else I hear, but I just want to give my thoughts on it. so far. We're still doing a basketball live stream later tonight. Me and Curtis and Scotty and Andrew. So be on the lookout for that. Assuming that nothing crazy or anything breaks. But yeah, we're gonna be at it, getting after it and everything. So appreciate it, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Hopefully, as I always say, this next week will go perfectly fine and have no problems whatsoever. Like we all know better than that. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. And I'm sure we'll be talking very, 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 very soon.